Hey, it's Russ from Infectious Groove Podcast. It's no secret that I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan, so today I'm going to do it. I'm going to break down and rank my top 5 favorite Pink Floyd records of all time, so here we go. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping issues. Please make sure that you hit the notification button down below and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Also, if you want to listen to the Infectious Groove Podcast, there's a link in the description below. Make sure you hit that link, subscribe to that show, and we'll have a new episode for you every Monday. Now let's get down to the Pink Floyd business that this video is about. I personally have been into Pink Floyd now for about half of their career. I got into them in the very, very late 80s and have looked all the way back and all the way forward and a few times in between. And this is my ranking for my top 5 favorite Pink Floyd albums. Coming in at the number 5 spot is a record that I think is extremely underrated as far as Pink Floyd's back catalog goes. A lot of people will tell you that if you're going to listen to something pre-Dark Side of the Moon, you should instantly go to Metal. Love Metal, love a lot of the songs on there. I think Echoes is a masterpiece, Saint-Tropez, go on and on and on. However, Obscured by Clouds doesn't get anywhere near the recognition that it deserves. And I'm not putting this at the number 5 spot just because it's underrated. I really think there's some very, very good material on here that a lot of casual Pink Floyd fans maybe haven't even listened to. And me personally, if I was going to tell someone to listen to material prior to the Dark Side of the Moon, I would send them in this direction even before Metal. There's a lot shorter songs on it that are a lot more accessible than, say, Echoes taking up all of side 2 on Metal, but there's some great instrumentals on here. There's some really good acoustic tracks. I think What's the Deal is one of the most underrated Pink Floyd acoustic songs that there is. The 2 instrumental cuts that open the song are just fantastic, and it's really the band doing a great job continually finding that direction to be the band that would eventually make the Dark Side of the Moon. Coming in at number 4 is a way more dark album with a lot more focus and a lot more purpose, that's for sure. A couple albums later, you get into the late 70s and Animals. I think Animals is an amazing album. I think it's one of the last times all 4 members were really firing on all cylinders in the studio, whether or not things were going on between them personally. They're still all playing at the top of their game on this record, in my opinion. It's also the type of record that, whether or not you care about politics, this album has really reinvented itself over and over and over with the political messaging on there. But if you don't even care about the politics or the lyrics, the musicianship on display from all 4 members is fantastic throughout this whole record. That's why it comes in at number 4 on my top 5 Pink Floyd records. Coming in at number 3 is a much lighter, better experience overall for someone who doesn't want anything to do with the politics, and that's 1975's Wish You Were Here. This is just a masterpiece of a record, and barely got inched out by the number 2 record, and I'll go into the reasons why. But if you don't know anything about the backstory on this record, it's absolutely fantastic. Lyrics referring to Syd Barrett, the original founding member of Pink Floyd, as well as a lot of the cynicism that not only Roger Waters but the whole band was starting to really grow into after the success that they had before this. And really beautiful pieces of music from all the parts of Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Even the evil sound that's on Welcome to the Machine has a beauty to it. And of course, the title track, Wish You Were Here, is fantastic. And like Animals, to me, this sounds like all 4 members of the band really firing on all cylinders. So that's why it comes in at number 3 for me. So now we come down to the top 2, and you can probably guess which albums it's going to be, but what order are they going to be in? Coming in at number 2 for me, some might look at as sacrilege, but number 2 for me is The Dark Side of the Moon. Now, this record here, I think, is pretty much Pink Floyd at the height of their powers in some ways, and in others, there's reasons why it gets number 2 for me. Now, if I was going to tell the average person to look into Pink Floyd and they say, oh, I've heard of The Dark Side of the Moon, is it worth a listen? I absolutely would direct them this way. The themes and the lyrics are universal. I really don't have to say too much about this record, but What I will say is, for me, the themes on this record are a little too universal. I don't think Roger had really honed his craft yet to get really specific, and you hear that more on Wish You Were Here and Animals and my number one record. But there's not a lot else to say about the quality of this record. The sales numbers say it, the popularity, the fact that it stood the test of the time, easily in my number two spot. So, what is my number one record of all time by Pink Floyd? For me, it is 1979's Pink Floyd, The Wall. I think this record is stunningly good on several levels. I'll knock out the one negative that I have for it, and I really stressed during Animals, Wish You Were Here, and Obscured by Clouds, and so on, that those records had Pink Floyd, all four members, really firing on all cylinders. That is not quite the case here. This is a very Roger-driven record. Dave brings his A game in a lot of respects. Nick has moments on the record that are flashy. Rick Wright really doesn't bring his A game to the record, and there are many reasons for that. But as far as the overall audio experience, for me, lyrically, musically, the messaging, everything about this record all the way across the board for me. This is not only my number one Pink Floyd album of all time, this is my number one album by any artist ever. And if I were alone on a desert island, this would be the one album that I would take with me. So I always have an easy answer to that game. But that is it. That is my top 5 Pink Floyd records of all time. What are yours? Maybe you've got some of these in your top 5. Maybe you have others that I completely forgot. Make sure to share the comment in below, and I'll be more than happy to engage, and we can have ourselves a big old Floyd discussion. Thanks for watching.